Picasso's. So Picasso, if you know, there is an entire ism dedicated to it, Cubism. But he had many phases of his entire art tenure, the blue period, the actual hardcore Cubist period, and so this is one artist who from 2D, where he this thing never blocked him, whether it is 2D or 3D or an act which is which he is performing, so it was all of that. So we can see over here that why does this element, if at all I can call it face of a creature, completely stands out away from the others. It is a plain flat sheet metal sculpture, thick sheet metal, but can you see how many grays it is creating? If I see those two mirror image wing-like structures at the back, or shoulder blades or lung-like structure at the back, one is darker, one is lighter. But when I see this face-like structure, it cuts through them and actually gives you the lightest of gray, closer to white. So that tilt actually gave it the maximum light. The standing of the previous Pizze Valley structures actually are not reflecting light. They are probably half concave and placed in an opposite manner.
So what is interesting is people are climbing onto the sculpture, which is very rarely allowed.
Yes.
This is you're interacting with the sculpture, and it does look very, like very safe.
See, they could have placed it, sir, 4 feet higher. कोई चढ़ नहीं पाता. दूसरा जो pedestal है बहुत छोटा बना देते. तो भी नहीं. Can you see that they have actually made a sitting line all across it, which is like a pedestal, but actually something where people can come and rest. So it is actually at the sitting height. That is why people are climbing onto it, and the sculpture is becoming more reachable to them. So these are the unsaid languages that creates barriers or uncreates them. Also, you can see that the sculpture has some detailing elements, which are probably the eye elements or those sculpture, the circles, and there is also line treatment given to it. What would that line do in a different light? It would create some pattern on the ground. It probably create a zebra crossing in the ground.
I think this sculpture would look better in an artificial lighting setup in a gallery.
Probably, yes, probably. Why not? Yes. Another thing is, it could have also been given a different color, but why is it actually standing there, almost merging into the background color? Because it's like an extension of that, probably.
And it is Picasso means like phenomenal, no? Can't believe it.
Does it look like a bull to you also? Because maybe it's in the Wall Street.
Like a monkey to me.
Yeah, in fact, students, very good. You mentioned all these animals because you're seeing different characters of those animals in this, right?
Yes, so and probably by evening it would create a different character out of it because the light would be different. So many things we can still keep on discussing, but I want to leave them open because see, I don't want to give you my answers. I don't want you to hear to others' answers also. And there are no answers. It's only, one day you will talk something about it, second day you will talk something about it. So we all just keep it open.
If this was placed on Wall Street, then I think the bull interpretation would be nice.
Probably instead of bull, ये इतना overpowering है कि वो bull होता ही नहीं, उसकी जगह यही होता. ये तो आजकल का ऐसा है कि that pull actually now looks like movement of money. Everywhere it is, you know, the economic, the financial power of any country that it becomes. हाँ पोम्पा लग रहा है, बिल्कुल लग रहा है, एक्चुअली उसका साउंड भी लग रहा है, लेकिन when you know it is Picasso, आपको पता है कि उस टाइम तक ये सब चीजें एग्जिस्ट नहीं करती थी. So that is why I have not actually paid attention and showing you things chronologically, because our idea over here is not to actually, of course, history is relevant. Of course, all these artists are as relevant chronological also. But right now we are discussing form, okay, and the materials and probably the processes. So chronology, whenever you actually look at them, you will actually come to know chronology from anywhere. Okay, and right now our aim is not to go through history, which is an entirely different scope. And if I would start covering, you know, where they are placed in history and what is their historical importance, I probably need another 2-3 lectures. So right now we will just look at a lot of them and keep discussing.
So, ma'am, how was this created? Often when I look at sculptures, I have no clue how the artist went about doing it. With paintings, I have some idea that you start with a basic underline.
So I am one of the persons who is not interested much in the content that artist creates. मैं कहीं ना कहीं से डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली उनके स्टूडियोज के पिक्चर्स देखती हूँ और ये देखती हूँ कि वो कहाँ खड़ा होकर बनाता था, कितना हाई रूफ है उसका. Yeah, so this guy also has many chambered workshops where it is mostly like, you know, a welder's workshop. But for an artist it is different. वो जरूरी नहीं है कि वो सिर्फ इसमें उसको आयन ही डालना था इसलिए वो वेल्डर्स वर्कशॉप रखी थी. उसकी वर्कशॉप में वहीं बाजू में ही सिरामिक भी होगा, वहीं साइड में पेपर और कार्डबोर्ड भी होगा, वहीं पे पेंटिंग भी बन रही होगी. क्योंकि फॉर अस इट इज नॉट you know, as segmented as workshops. An artist studio is where, you know, साथ में क्रियॉन पड़े है, साथ में वाटर कलर पड़ा होता है ना. So this is only shift in language, shift in tool, you know. So he could have actually also made it as a combination of many materials, probably. So that is why you can keep on having a peep. I always, you know, through some YouTube interviews or whatever, purana jaake na, then I stop at that place where I can actually hog into the artist studio, because I am more interested in how they work, where they are as humans, how these things become overwhelming to them, how they struggle to put their expressions into practice, you know. So those are the places they're most human and, you know, in their most vulnerable form, struggling to feel and, you know, also saying कि ये मैंने क्या बनाया, घटिया बनाया. I'm not. I hope nobody sees. कितनी pictures पे हम कहते हैं और कितने मेरे artworks बोलती हूँ ये. Then I come to know किसी ने उसकी picture share कर दिया है कि क्यों दिखाया. This is like one of my worst works. So an artist goes through all of that in that studio. So that is the place I want to see. You know, वहाँ पे क्या चीज सामने है, क्या पीछे है, क्या तोड़ दी, you know, all those things. So those are secret diaries, secret dialogues, personal ones. So this is Jeff Koons. So what material is it? Tell me. So just to inform you, Jeff Koons is the richest artist living now. Jeff Koons and of course Damien Hirst. So he's in the Forbes list and all, because can you see that probably he changed the way sculptures or the seriousness in sculptures were looked. Probably he was also ridiculed in the start, you know, and how he has developed the entire language of his art to become very statemental. So what is the material? Do you know?
Metal. Probably metal.
Yes, it is. नहीं मैंने बोल ही दिया. Sorry, I already disclosed it is metal. But what is he showing with the metal? A very frivolous quality.
Yeah.
You would almost feel कि इसको जाके पिन मार के आओ, सारा sculpting खराब कर दो.
Properties are completely opposite. It's like really stretchy,
fragile.
Yes, fragile, very momentary.
Elastic, no? Light, bulgy and elastic. No, you put more, you can get.
And you know, he has actually used the pedestal to save it from people. कि भाई पास मत आओ क्योंकि actually ये वही है. लेकिन पास आओगे तो इसमें टंग टंग की आवाज आएगी if you knock at it. That is like a mystery, a surprise. Another is usually a balloon sculpture, you know, उसका size क्या होता है, हमारे हाथ में आता है. He's made it monumental. Can you see the door next to it must be 12 feet. And since it is a gallery floor, हो सकता है 14 feet भी हो. अपने घर के जो डोर्स हैं उनको ऑब्जर्व करो, 9 फीट होते हैं, 10 फीट होते हैं, टावर्स में 11 फीट भी होते हैं. सो गैलरी डोर्स आर इवन बिगर, उसमें भी इट इज टचिंग द रूफ. सो he is also making a statement here that fragile play toy thing which was in your hand suddenly honey I grew up the kids हो गया है ना इसका.
Yeah.
Culture could also become lost in a garden and also become, you know, how a child becomes a monster in that movie. बेचारी को ये भी नहीं पता कि वो मॉन्स्टर बनती है, पाँव के नीचे मम्मी पापा ही दब जाएंगे, you know. So but this is what this monumental sizes and this horror or this feeling of scare का एक शायद एक straight away एक clear उपाय भी है. Probably all of us are scared. Probably because as primitives, we were scared of mammoths and dinosaurs, that everything, even such a toy becomes huge. And I almost have an eerie feeling about this. What if it, you know, becomes a predator, it grew up and it is stomping in the streets and, you know. So how you convert those ideas and how you actually add up the eerie feeling. Now, which is the last serial that you saw in Netflix? I think most of you must have seen the Squid Game. Have you? नहीं देखा तो प्लीज मत देखना. I don't want. But देखा है कि नहीं?
I've seen it, not the last show though.
हाँ, नहीं देखा तो प्लीज मत देखना. उसके अंदर मुझे सबसे पहली थी कि I mean, I was in completely opposite feelings. I was completely repulsed, very angry, very emotionally hurt, and very eerie at that serial, but I was hooked to it. उसका भी main content यही था कि something which is very dear to you, almost nostalgic, like childhood, and childhood games actually becomes games of survival. You will probably have to kill your best friend to win the game of life, to be living. So, you know, so it is very repulsive, but repulsive वो सबसे ज्यादा तभी होगा जब उसका opposite factor भी उसमें होता है, which is most loved also, or most nostalgic also, or like a very safe, secure place in my heart, which is my childhood. And, you know, suddenly it becomes very, very, it becomes like a weapon. So you have to see how this content is manipulated over here with elements of form. First, what is the content? Okay. 2, what is the material? 3, what is the size? 4, how and where is it placed? Okay. So now if this was placed instead of that organic bubble of Anish Kapoor, do you think it would have a different opinion and emotion generated out of it? What do you say?
I mean, it would be much smaller than that.
It could even be this size or even bigger, but people would go and interact under it. You know, it becomes my carpet. But placed over here, it is still eerie. It is still larger than life. You know, it becomes very statemental. Over here, it is not used as an interactive piece. है ना? This kind of creates quite a different perspective for this one. So look at those conflicting feelings. See how they are interpreted in the form. You become to think of it कि यार वो दरवाजे से तो और ये आ नहीं सकता था, तो इस कल्चर को अंदर लाया कैसे गया? Probably इसे अंदर लाके फुलाया गया. Then it again reaffirms कि हाँ ये बलून ही है, फ्रेजाइल है, पेडेस्टल बनाया, लोग इसको जाके टच ना करें, बलून ही है, बट एक्चुअली नहीं है. So, you know, you keep a kind of the onlooker keeps juggling between these ideas of what is real and what is not real. What is the mystery of this? Okay, so this has been acquired with finishes, with look, with surfaces, with lines and reflections created, okay? Which is going to be your grammar for the rest of your life. So these are his many sculptures. So now what do you say about this? So Claes Oldenburg is an artist who actually uses everyday objects, but places them in probably the places they usually don't belong to. So this is called a spoon bridge, which is actually a bridge, you know, created. थोड़ा और ये देखोगे कि लैंडस्केप्स के एलिमेंट्स को वो रीचेबल बना रहा है कि जैसे खजुराहो में नहीं है, एक बीच में ही लेक है. सो उस लेक में भी आप पानी से इंटरेक्शन आपका अवॉइड किया है किनारे ने, है ना. पानी को आप दूर से देख सकते हो, लेकिन he allows you to get into the water body also, probably sit there, come back. So usually one would have a deck which walks to that water body, you know, to invite interaction, to actually get into that second environment. But over here he uses something else. Can you see what is another element that you notice, that you know he made it so much that it belongs to water, and he created something in that sculpture that actually speaks that language.
Sprinkler.
Yes. So it I feel a sprinkler नहीं हो सकता क्योंकि ये garden पे नहीं है. This is more like a fountain. A small sprinkle where you could go.
Fountain maybe.
पानी में splash कर सको अपने face पे, उतना तो थोड़ा बहुत गिरेगा. You know, you will get drenched in the experience, and this will actually facilitate. So the sculpture is a facilitation, an extension, he says, of the landscape, yet it is a household product for my kitchen. अरे यहाँ कैसे आ गया? You know, so it does have quality of surprise, and probably for once एक बार तो ये थॉट मेरे माइंड के क्रॉस जाएगी कि अरे ये क्या है और ये यहाँ कैसे आ गया. सो दैट इज इनफ, बस. और उसमें और इंटरप्रिटेशन नहीं है, सीधा स्पून है, चेरी है, he calls it that also. But now you interact. So what I'm trying to say is this sculpture makes a statement. One, it has contrasting colors, red and white, which is standing out of the landscape to attract attention towards itself. Okay. And also, कि ये क्या है, the content of it, it will cross your head once. But after that, it just becomes any normal thing within this thing. And then you get busy with the people you have come with the place you have come to. Whether enjoy karo, group enjoy karo, company enjoy karo. क्योंकि it is nothing more than a spoon and a cherry. यहाँ बैठ के तुम दिन भर इसको interpret नहीं भी करोगे तो चलेगा. So, you know, I want you to notice here that how an artist through an artwork starts a dialogue, conversation, लेकिन जहाँ उसको रोकनी है ना वो conversation, वहाँ वो उसको full stop करके चला जाता है. उसके बाद like you are on your own, अपने आप enjoy करो. There's nothing more to it. Okay, so do you want your work to be a conversation starter? How interaction, non-interaction, you know, so many things come with those things. Placed where, placed how contrasting, you know. So if I put this, though they are different people, but why not if I'm comparing? कि I said कि वो पिकासो का जो हमने sheet metal का देखा था, it was very overwhelming, but it was merging with the background. This one is like making a statement and standing out. Now, can you add a few opinions and reactions of yours on this?
Firstly, like the first thing that I thought was that the spoon probably shows motion as if it just fell over and the cherry was sliding to the side.
Amazing. Yes, of course. मतलब ये चीजें बैलेंस क्या कहाँ कर रही हैं, किसको कर रही हैं?
Yeah.
चेरी नीचे स्लाइड क्यों नहीं हो रही? I mean, you know, there's more to it. Yes. What else? So they are in a very unbalanced kind of balanced situation. Yet you feel safe under it. चेरी तुम्हारे वहां बैठे होगे तुम स्पून की नेक पे, तो चेरी स्लाइड होगे तुम्हारे ऊपर नहीं आएगी. You have that kind of feel. नहीं तो ये पब्लिक स्कल्पचर ही नहीं होता अगर सेफ नहीं होता तो. So do you also notice that public sculptures है, लेकिन it needs to have that safety thing. It cannot create accidents and calamities here. So it kind of prevents कि लोग वहां जाएं, because probably that cherry might slide. Now, if you would add some movement, I have not added up kinetic sculptures right now here because actual movement I wanted to keep away for a certain time. But what if it was a kinetic sculpture? What else would be moving?
The spoon would maybe go back and forth, and the
Oh my
cherry
God.
would
तो लोग
slide
जो
like this.
बैठे होंगे वो गिर जाएंगे. But one I feel non-accidental thing would be जो चेरी की जो स्टेम है ना वो चारों तरफ घूम सकती है और instead of पानी कभी लाइट छोड़ सकती है, कभी आवाज या lot of things it can do. Or probably just bang 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 like a spring only all the time. Well, many things could happen. Did you notice one thing? Okay, which is one thing that I just noticed today. I've seen it like 1,000 times, guys. But now that I'm showing you today, so this water actually trickles down the cherry itself. And can you see under the cherry, there's a nice thin trickling water line?
I thought that was the support.
No, even I thought, but now now it makes sense because ऊपर से पानी trickle हो रहा है. So something that is keeping cherry fresh. Always washed with water, क्योंकि इस पे तो धूल जम सकती है. खैर इस environment में धूल नहीं जमेगी. But so it has another added perspective now for you and I to observe and enjoy. So each one of you quickly, whichever first can attach an emotion to
Flame.
it. Or
Ribbons.
ribbons. Okay, I would ask why ribbons. Because I just don't want ribbon to say it all. I want to say what in ribbons. Because ribbon or ye, इसमें common क्या है? Is that element which you're not seeing?
Fluidity.
Sorry?
The fluidity, the way it
The
flows
fluidity.
through air,
Okay.
like
Okay.
kind of.
Aquatic
Okay.
plant.
Plant, organic, right?
Aquatic plant.
अच्छा, so you're saying aquatic plant जो वो हल्का-हल्का ocean में हिलता रहता है at the bottom of it.
Seagrass
Very
type.
nice. Very nice. Also because it has that aqua tinge to it. Yet something tells me, that it is metal. Yet even if it is maximally organic, I still feel it is metal. So what is it that causes that?
I think one is the gloss.
Yeah, the shine on it. Yeah.
Yeah, probably edge of it. It does look like a जैसे aloe vera leaf हो या aquatic हो, but still, so try to interpret. If it was okay, so this we are now comparing it with nature, but if it was an emotion,
It's free flowing, but it still has some like straight lines. It has a lot of straight lines in it.
edge. So line over here is what? Line over here is the edge of the sculpture, right? Because what is reflection? वहां पर जो blob है, you can't call that line, है ना? None of us can call that line. Now, can you see that this is actually placed near a water body, almost next to it? So that we derive our conversation and we can never minus water from there also. But could I place it in a building or in a park environment? What is the most striking thing about it?
That I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, it look like snakes.
Yeah.
Okay, but it also looks like something not to be scared of, probably organic, some some form, जैसे corals नहीं होते हैं underwater. Some
Like
aquatic
it's like
plant that
something
is
from
actually-
Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Yes, chocolate factory. उसमें
It
candies,
looks like this
candies वाले
spider
case
lily
में कुछ होगा.
flower.
Yeah. So now, do you see that it doesn't have sharp reflections? What could be the material? It is very matte. The one thing that does not make it organic is iska, which I feel, is contradictory to its form, is wo jo danda hai, where it is placed. It completely takes away the organic look of it because it is very geometric, very human, very, industry. So what is the material? So why do you call it a sculpture, or do you call it?
Looks like a sculpture.
Do you call it an object?
Yeah, looks like maybe a product.
So
Yeah.
I am not asking you to define it, but why I am saying is each one of us could make a distinction कि ये sculpture नहीं, ये product या ये object हो सकता है. So
अरे
what is it that you did not call object here or here or here? We don't say object, but we say object here. So try
Because
and formalize the qualities which makes it an object.
we suspect that there is a function to it,
Yes, and
like holding some fluid.
yeah, because it looks like operable. Okay, with human hands placed on a shelf. Okay, resembles many objects that we use in everyday life.
right.
It could be much more, but what I'm saying is that's not the end of it. The discussion is only a start. But I want you to notice how you completely, all of us change, So we all share some common perceptions, and then we also, all of us share our personal experiences. So you try and all the time, whenever you make an opinion, a judgment, and even a discussion about it, you try to also look within yourselves to see, okay, are these perceptions that I have taken from the art world, how my experience actually enters this? From here also, you're building experiences.